Well, I'm here with Linda Toomey. She is the Executive Director of the Siena Francis House. Linda, thank you for joining me today.
I'm glad to be here, Andy. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, first we talked months ago and talked about like the opening and the expansion of what you're doing at the Siena Francis House, which was a great story. And
yes,
we might touch on that a little bit, but kind of now in the throes of what's happening with this coronavirus. I mean, the homeless and people that can't necessarily help themselves,
yes,
they're so at risk. So
yes,
let's talk about that and what's going on.
So I think on a basic level, homeless people are more at risk for communicable diseases because they don't have the access to the things that we all have access to. So that's one thing, one barrier for them. The second is a lot of them have underlying medical problems. COPD, diabetes, living outside decreases your lifespan, things like that. So those conditions make them a lot more susceptible for it to being serious and it being something that if you or I got it, it may be a cold. For them, it could become life-threatening. So the homeless population is certainly at a lot more risk right now.
Yeah. So what is your organization doing? I mean, how are you kind of dealing with this? I mean, at the time of this conversation, I mean, this will air maybe a few days later, but this conversation, we're about a week into it for the most part.
So we have on average about 550 people who sleep on our campus daily.
Okay.
We have been putting together a very thorough COVID-19 response, and it has several different areas to it. One is staff preparedness. We have done training with our staff on hand hygiene, on using personal protective equipment to prevent the spread of the disease. We've been doing education with our staff and our clients on those things. We also are introducing a social distancing campaign because we have about 425 individuals that live in shelter at a given time. There's not a lot of space between folks. So we're working on social distancing, doing a lot of education, changing our operations to encourage those social distancing things, like having people sleep head to toe in the bunks instead of head to head to increase the personal space between them. Talking about decreasing the number of people in the dining room at a given time. So there are a lot of considerations about our operations. We have a COVID-19 kind of planning team that meets every day. We're changing this plan every day. We're integrating more and more things. We're learning from other communities who've had some, like New York, for example, we're looking at what their shelters are doing, and they've had some COVID-19 a little ahead of us and a little more of an outbreak, so we're learning from other communities. We also are talking to our partner agencies and each other a lot, like, what are you doing? Like, I just had a conversation with an agency out of Lincoln right before I came, and we're talking about what are we all doing and what can we learn from one another.
Yeah. I mean, so many important things. So let's talk about what are your biggest needs right now?
Yeah, our biggest needs are really hand sanitizers, like Clorox wipes, Lysol disinfectants, books. Now that we're asking people to socially isolate, we opened our dorms and the shelters so people can stay in them all day long. That's a change in operations. So we're encouraging people to stay in their bed and read if they need to socially isolate and do those things to keep themselves safe. But our biggest things are like disinfecting wipes and disinfectant right now.
So what do you do when you can't find any of that? I mean, I've actually looked on Amazon. I mean, I guess maybe you need to go to the World Wide Web to buy those products because they're kind of limited right now.
They're really limited. And you know, the things that are happening to you as a consumer are happening to us as an agency. We put them in the cart, we go to check out, and they take them out of the cart. They say they're not available, even if it showed they were available. So right now we are asking staff, if you're out anywhere and you see them, pick them up and we will reimburse you. That's how critical our need is. The other thing is we've worked with our cleaning suppliers and our chemical suppliers and they're giving us disinfectants. So we have things for backup, but those are things that we can give to a client who says, I want to wipe off my bed. Or, you know, I want to spray my bed down or disinfect something. That's why we really need those. We have cleaners as backups, but we really need those items too.
Yeah, that's really good to know. And, you know, we talked a little bit your staff. I mean, they're in the trenches. I mean, you're in the trenches like you first said at the beginning of the conversation and they have to be in the trenches.
Yes. We never close. And there's a lot more demand on us. You know, other social services agencies have reduced hours and some have stopped for safety, and we understand that. We're in a different position because we provide emergency housing. We are trying to let a few staff work from home, but most of our staff do direct service work, so we need to do that. We also need to do that for our clients, keeping things kind of normal, keeping their mental health as well as possible is important. So most of our staff are coming to work, and they're really dedicated to this work. We have a wonderful group of staff, and I think if you weren't, you probably wouldn't be in this business anyway.
And I have a quick question that's not on the sheet, that's not on my talking points. Do your clients, I mean, do they know what's going on? I mean, are there TVs? I mean, are they watching the news? I mean,
so that's a great piece about our education. Not only are we trying to educate our staff about how is COVID transmitted between people, we're trying to educate the clients. We are increasing the times that the news is on in the shelter, and both the men and women have areas where they have access to the TV. Right. We're increasing that. We're doing a lot of poster campaigning. We're having town hall meetings with our clients and talking about these things.
That's great.
So one of their feedback to us was, we want more access to the news. So now we have the news on from 5 to 7 at least every night, and we're showing videos on social isolation and all of those things to give them the education they need. But they said we need more education.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes the news can be a little overwhelming, but it's also important. So I mean, I was just curious about that, is how are they being educated?
We have Wi-Fi there for our guests, so some use their phones and things like that, but some don't have phones, and they said, we're not getting good information. So that has been a consideration we've made in our planning.
Good. So how can people find out more about the Siena Francis House?
So Share Omaha is one place where you can look at our needs. We also have our needs on our website. We use a lot of social media. Every Wednesday we put out a what we need, kind of our highest things list. So that's also on our website. So one way would be to go to sienafrancishouse.org. No house, just sienafrancis.org.
And again, I mean, I will show this. This was our February cover, and it really was talking about, you know, the new building, the expansion, what you're doing, and all the good things in the community are doing. And then, you know, we're kind of in the midst of definitely of a crisis. So, but would encourage people to check this out too at spiritofomaha.com and read about everything that you're doing. But now, you know, things have, there's kind of a new focus.
There is a new focus. And, you know, the new building is a great gift to us right now, because it is allowing us to do some of the things that we're talking about. We also have not torn down the old women's shelter, and we're considering using that for a quarantine unit when we need it, or an isolation unit, and we're working with Douglas County Health Department on those things. So the building, actually the timing probably couldn't have been better. It's helping us a lot in this crisis.
So Linda, thank you so much for joining me today, and we will be right back.